Welcome back to Rick's Corner. Rich and I are sitting here talking. We decided to get on the subject of something of steroids. Back in the day of the 60s, 70s, 80s, mostly the 70s, I think, and how they compare to today's steroids. Now, I was telling Rich back, I'm going to go back to 1963 when I was training. I was able to get Dianabol made by CIBA, C-I-B-A, little bottle, little blue pills for $8 a hundred. And you didn't need a prescription. Well, you did need a prescription, but they were legal. I mean, the doctor, my doctor would order me a bottle of 100, or the pharmacist give me a bottle of 100. I'd take 2 a day, and I got huge. Yeah. Huge. And it was only a 5 milligram pill. Mm-hmm. So you're saying today that Dianabol is a 20 milligram pill.
Yeah, they come in all different, but yeah, generally the pills now are 20, even 50 milligrams.
Right.
You know, 20, 40, 50, and you know, the drugs of today are nothing like the drugs of then. You know, it's completely different.
You can't always go by milligrams, because 20 milligrams, like we just said, could be equivalent to 2 milligrams back then.
Yeah, it's for whatever reason it makes no logical sense. But you know, like I was telling you back, you know, when I started, you know, in the late 80s, you know, right in the beginning of the 90s, you know, I did 1 cc a test and 1 cc a deca and put on 28 pounds, dieting for a show of pure muscle. Yeah. You know, I know people that do 1 cc a test and 1 cc a deca, and they're lucky if they gain, you know, 5 to 10 pounds.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so it's just not the same as it was. And it's funny because everyone talks about how, you know, people just take so much more drugs now than they did back then, which is true. Yeah. But the drugs nowadays don't work like the ones in the old.
Exactly.
So you got to take a lot more to get the same benefits.
So if somebody says, oh, I got 500 milligrams of testosterone and anthate, 500 milligrams per cc, it's really not 500.
No. It's not. I mean, you can't even put 500 milligrams in a cc. It's impossible for that to even be made, which a lot of people don't understand, and they'll never comprehend that. They'll just look at the label and believe the label. They don't understand that the label's paper and it's printed. It's printed on a computer. So.
Right. You know, they back in the 80s, I'd taken balasterone. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's around anymore, is it?
No. No one really actually knew what the real balasterone was.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew what was in the original balasterone.
Different testosterones, and it had 25 anavar ground into it, and you're supposed to take a half cc every day.
I heard it had Phenojet too.
It could have Phenojet in it.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Now, I want to talk about Phenojet for a minute. Balasterone I took, and my incline dumbbells went from 80s to 150s within a period of 10 days. Yeah. But I took a half cc every day. Mm-hmm. So like you were saying, as it rises and falls, half cc every day kept it way up all the time. Yeah. Well, it could have been an athlete would have done the same probably. Mm-hmm. So there was balasterone, and then there was 2 other drugs that came, nordiethylene 1 and nordiethylene 2. And we all took that. Steve Davis and I used to get at the gym. I said, I don't know what it is, but it works. And so I think a guy named Feliciano was making it, Jeff. Mm-hmm. He was making it at home, and he was a chemist. It was really strong. And then they came out with something called Hexalon. And I remember Steve Davis was taking Hexalon to get cut. He said it just gave him a horrible fever, and body temperature went up. And if you read the bottle, the side effect was death. Seriously. And so, I mean,
this must be some good stuff. Let me try it.
Well, this will kill you. So we don't know what went in it, but we know that it actually did kind of work. D-ball back then was real, of course, and it was by CIBA, and then they quit manufacturing it. But the potencies were right on. I mean, DECA was right on. And nowadays, I mean, you don't know. I mean, I remember buying DECA for a vial for $1.50 from guys in Texas, and it was real stuff. Oh, yeah. Now, when you get into Phenojet and Parabolin, mm-hmm. I got mine from T-shirt distributors that bought for me in France. They'd send it to me. Yeah. But when I would inject that stuff, I would have a feeling in my lungs like an ether type taste and smell, and my heart would get this hollow feeling in it. I thought I was having a heart attack literally for 10 seconds.
Yeah. You still get that from Tren. Parabolin was a form of Tren. There's right. 3 different Trens, but right. You still get that, but you know, it's just not. I don't see it as strong as the Parabolin. You know, the real.
What causes that feeling in the heart?
Parabolin. You know, it's just not the
same. You feel like you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, it's just they call it Tren cough, and you know, the first time it happens, you think you're gonna die.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom and I started screaming, "I'm dying! Call not 911, call 912. This is an extreme emergency." Yeah,
that's crazy. But you know what's funny is another thing to bring up is Primobolan was one of the most popular drugs back then. That was supposedly that was Arnold's favorite drug. That's what all the old timers say. That was his favorite drug was Primobolan acetate. And the thing is nowadays Primobolan is just I mean, I believe it's pretty much all fake. It's useless. It does nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, even at super high dosages, you just notice nothing.
I got that from him and Franco back in the days, and it came in a box of a 4-pack, already preloaded with a needle. And at that time, I didn't want to stick myself at first. I was really hesitant. I'd do a B12, but I don't know about this long needle. And Franco used to take it and throw it like a dart in my ass. And I said, "Oh my God, that hurt!" And I just blew up with this stuff.
Yeah.
Just blew. In fact, I don't know. You probably never thought this, but I thought, I'm getting so big, I don't like it. I was so big I couldn't get in the car. I couldn't get any shirts on. I mean, I was that big that I felt uncomfortable in my car. And I said, I got to tone down now. It's getting too big on me.
Well, plus when it happens so fast, you haven't had time to adjust.
Right.
None of your clothes fit. You can't do this. You can't do that.
No.
You're breathing heavy. It's crazy because that's what happened to me as a teenager. I just started growing like a weed.
Yeah.
I got up in the 250s at age 19, and it was just like, Jesus Christ,
It's scary. And the other thing is we were talking in our last episode about nutrition and eating all the time. I was eating good all the time. No carbs, no junk. I had the high protein, the fats, and no carbs all the time. So this drug was going in and really doing its job.
Yeah.
So I was getting big, but I was staying really ripped with it.
What was amazing, too, is like, Mike Mincer, for instance, they have his diet published for the last Olympiad.
Yeah.
And he was eating basically nothing. I mean, he was eating like lettuce and like 30 grams of protein, like nothing, like eating like a bird. And he just had so much mass and, thickness to him. And it's amazing that he could have that much size with eating so little. It was just, it's crazy, when you read his diet.
I've seen some guys that are vegetarians that are bodybuilders, and they look pretty decent too.
Yeah, Tim Belknap.
Right.
I
don't understand that either.
He was thick. Yeah.
Because I see other vegetarians that eat and they're all fat.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
skinny fat. Yeah.
Skinny fat, yeah.
No muscle mass.
So the drugs from yesterday to today have really changed quite a bit.
Yeah, enormously. I mean, from my experience, it's nothing like it was, back in my early days, which was just the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I did, same as you, I went to a doctor, and he prescribed me, give me 5 prescriptions a month of whatever I wanted. And, they check your blood pressure, check your heart rate. That was pretty much it. And he'd write me 5 prescriptions a month. And so I'd go in there, and so it was all right out of American Pharmacy, and I just grew like a weed.
All right, I got a funny story. I was wrestling at the Olympia Auditorium. Dr. Bernhard Schwartz, ringside doctor, he treated all the wrestlers. He always had handfuls of tetracycline and anything for the flu medication, whatever you wanted. So I said, I need some Dianabol. He says, have the pharmacy call me. He was kind of a gruff old guy, just have the pharmacy call me. So I went to what was then, I believe, Thrifty's. I happened to know the pharmacist. I said, please call Dr. Schwartz, and I want to get a bottle of 100D ball. He says, okay. He puts the call in, and Dr. Schwartz answers his phone. Hello. He was always busy. Hello, is this Doc Schwartz? Yeah. I have Rick Drasin here. Give him anything he wants. And hung up. I said, what do you say? He said, give him anything he wants. I said, I want a 100D ball. And this is how we got our stuff.
Well, I got a funny story for you. My doctor wrote me a prescription for 100 Anadrol, right? So my buddy, it was his idea, says, why don't you put another 0? Make it 1,000. And I was like, fuck, that's a good idea.
Good idea.
Got a black pen, another 0, went in. Pharmacist calls the doctor because nobody ever gets prescribed 1,000 Anadrol pills.
Yeah.
No one gets prescribed Anadrol, period.
Yeah.
Let alone 1,000. And so that pretty much ended my my prescriptions with the doctor.
Well, I have to tell you something. This is not a huge secret, but I do that now for Celebrex for my arthritis. My prescription will run out, and I'll scan it in my computer, and I'll renew 6 refills, send it to Canadian Pharmacy, and they just say, okay.
Yeah.
So there's ways around everything. Come on, don't hold that against me. Don't take me to court over it. But I had a lot of aches and pains in my joints, and I needed that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our take on what steroids were then and now. And I think it's kind of interesting because things have changed. And be careful what you buy and where you buy it. There's a lot of stuff for sale out there from guys in gyms and on the internet. And if you don't know the person, you don't know the history of it, what's going on, be careful. Buyer beware, right?
Yeah, and don't always trust the person that's selling it to you because they're obviously making a profit. So,
sure.
A lot of times I've heard of people, telling guys they need to take a lot more than they really need to take because they're making money the more they sell.
Of course.
Right?
Any drug dealer.
So maybe do your own research. Don't trust the person you're buying it from.
And there's always a theory, and it's said in the world today that less is more, and people don't really quite understand what that means, but you always start small on something. I don't care what the doctor gives me. I always do half the prescription, even for blood pressure medication, whatever, because I don't know how it's going to affect me.
Mm-hmm.
I start a little bit at a time, and I get results, I'm okay. If you take too much of something, sometimes it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, it's always better to be safe, too.
Yeah, always better to be safe. So that's our take on it. Thanks for watching Rick's Corner. This was just an afterthought that we wanted to talk about, share it with you, and give you some knowledge, and then you make your own choices. Please don't write to me and tell me what you want to take, because I've had a lot of those. I cannot advise you. I'm not legally licensed to prescribe steroids to you or tell you what to do. Your choice. You do what you want. I'll go to In-N-Out and get a cheeseburger.
Let's go.
Okay. Thanks for watching Rick's Corner.
See you guys.
It's RickDrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.